Good evening, everybody. Keith Schweigert here for Lancaster Online and Lancaster Newspapers, bringing you the wrap-up of Week 4 of the Lancaster-Lebanon League high school football season. First week of section play tonight, so let's get right into it, starting with Section 1. The big marquee game there is Lancaster Catholic making its return to Section 1, the first time the Crusaders have been part of Section 1 since back in the 80s, and they make the return a good one. They knock off Manheim Township 28-14 tonight. Roman Clay, Catholic's nearly unstoppable running back, had another big night, 234 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns for the Crusaders. They had to rally from a 14-7 deficit in the third quarter. Brennan Scott, 2 touchdown passes in a losing effort for the Blue Streaks. Elsewhere, Penn Manor, big over Hempfield, 49-0. The Comets had 423 total yards. Tyler Spangler had 2 touchdowns. Adam Saad ran for a touchdown and threw 2 touchdown passes to Brett Cagiano. Just a complete dominating effort by Penn Manor. Hempfield, which has been really limited by some player suspensions and injuries, they managed just 116 total yards in the loss. That's their second straight. And here's a great score. Warwick, the Cardiac Warriors, for the second time in 3 weeks, rally from a big deficit in the fourth quarter to get a 1-point victory. They knock off Cedar Crest 24-23. 27-yard field goal from Kobe Beamisturfer with 15 seconds left proves to be the game winner. Warwick was down 23-14 early in the fourth quarter, came back and won that one. And the final Section 1 game, Wilson, huge over McCaskey, 57-12. Red Tornado managed just 43 total yards tonight, negative 31 rushing yards. Meanwhile, Wilson had a big offensive night. Jimmy Brooks and Jesse Poore had 2 touchdowns each. The Bulldogs rushed for 300 yards right on the button. They improved to 3-1 and 1-0 in section play. Moving on to Section 2, we had a couple big scores here. Cocalico, huge win over Conestoga Valley. The Eagles roll 48-0. Nick Reitenbach had 3 touchdowns for Cocalico. CV really slumping. They've been outscored 97-7 in their last 2 games and are 0-4 in the season. Elsewhere, Manheim Central spots Elizabethtown, a 14-0 lead after 1 quarter, but they rolled after that. 54-27 the Barons win. 426 yards for the Manheim Central, and as I said, E-Town was out to a 14-0 lead. Manheim Central reels off 41 straight points before the Bears scored again, so the Barons appear to be rolling. Elsewhere, Ephrata makes its return to Section 2 in a big way. They knock off Lebanon 41-13. They rushed for 370 yards in the win. Congratulations to the Mountaineers. They've been fighting through a lot of adversity here early on. They finally break through in a big way. Nice win for them. Lebanon just drops to 0-4. They're really, really struggling this year. Team that was struggling early but appears to have found its footing is Lampeter Strasburg. They roll over Solanco 49-7. Colin Shank, the new quarterback, 2 touchdown passes. Ellis has won 2 straight. Solanco, meanwhile, still struggling. 21 points total in 4 losses this season, so they're really looking to find some offense. Moving on to Section 3, the marquee game tonight, the one I was at, Garden Spot and Donegal battling for an early season foothold on the inside track to the section title. It goes to Garden Spot. They knock off the Indians 34-23 at home. Mitch Martin, the quarterback, had 2 touchdown runs and a touchdown pass. Adam Haas had 2 touchdown runs for the Spartans. Matt Foltz had 2 touchdown passes and a losing effort for Donegal. They really hung tough for a lot of the night but could not overcome 5 turnovers tonight. That proved to be the difference. Elsewhere in Section 3, Elko rolls over Pequay Valley 34-7. Cameron Strauss, 261 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns for the Raiders, who are really doing well under new coach Bob Miller. Pequay Valley had started off 2-0, but in the last 2 weeks, they've been outscored 59-13, so they're really struggling all of a sudden. And the final Section 3 game, Annville-Cleona just destroys Northern Lebanon 42-14. Mitch Rodkey had the game of the night. 6 touchdowns for Rodkey, 4 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown, and he even caught a touchdown pass. He had 278 rushing yards for the little Dutchman who just obliterate the Vikings. And finally, we have one non-league game. Columbia goes to Berks County to take on Berks Catholic, but the Tide doesn't do so well. They were in it for a while, but Chris Warren scores 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to lift Berks Catholic to a 28-8 victory. Columbia had 5 rushing yards tonight, 136 total, so they are really struggling to find some offense. So that'll do it. 12 games on the docket next week. Be sure to check the huddle to see which game I'll be blogging live from. Thanks again for coming out to Lancaster Online to look up all these scores, and have a great weekend, everyone. See you next week.